Since we're talking about awards, man, did you see that BET Hip Hop Awards?
Yeah, man. It was everything what I expected it to be.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
I mean, here's the thing. BET has lost the pulse of the culture a long time ago. One of the biggest bulk reasons of it is you took music programming off it.
Yeah.
What kind of kept things going, in addition to like your reality stuff that came later on, like the College Hills and stuff of that. It was or Comic View. It was mainly your music programming, your 106 and Park, Rap City, Hits from the Street, Cedar's World. You know, these are the things. They even had a countdown show on the weekend. You know, and
I like that show. I forgot the name of that show where they would bring artists in and they would do their top 25
yep,
videos.
the
That was
weekend
a
I
dope
used to
show.
watch them. You
Yeah.
know, and I used to come home and watch that lineup. And even though every countdown show was doing the same videos, some of them would slip a little bit other more rap stuff in there, like Rap City, whatever. You know, but
Well, now that you say that, you know what my favorite BET video show was?
what was it?
Uncut. And it's not
Yeah,
really
yeah,
for the reason why most
yeah.
people would think you finally got to see something different. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to see rappers out of Alaska. You got to see, you know what I'm saying, the low budget videos. What was it? What that thing smell like? What was his name?
White girls. Yeah,
Or the bongos, Versace, Verasutos. Like, you got to see some different stuff. BET Uncut was legendary.
yes,
Go
fact.
ahead. I'm sorry.
And you know, no, while we're on that, I would want to say now it makes it to where I see these videos that are like more explicit. I'll be like, man, it shows you the evolution of things because we had to wait to 3 a.m. to see these type of videos. And now you can just get on YouTube, you see these videos like it's nothing, like it's nothing now, bro. Like,
Oh, the busy bone. Ain't nothing like money
yeah,
in a Ziploc bag.
uh-huh,
Yeah.
yeah. Classic, classic. You know what I'm saying? But now it just shows you where we are as a culture. Like, we really had to wait up to 3 a.m. to see that, dog. And like now these are regular. That's natural now. That's regular video content now. It's kind of crazy. So
Well, I mean, to speak to that, I think even when you talk about the video shows and these networks not being able to have music videos in prime time, a big part of that is just how fast the internet is, how accessible you have music videos on your phone. Like you said, we had to sit there and wait till 3 a.m. to see Tip Drill.
mhm,
Now, if we had cell phones that could just pull up Tip Drill, we're not staying up to 3 a.m. anymore to watch these things. And
yep,
again, I know that's a big example, but that's just a microcosm of what these networks had to deal with YouTube becoming YouTube and mobile devices becoming mobile devices. It's like, okay, well, how do I keep a 106 in Park interesting when we're showing the same 10 videos over and over? People could see these videos whenever they want to now. What's going to park people in front of their televisions to watch these things? So they say, you know what? We're just going to show reruns of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
yeah, we got, you know, you took programming off and you didn't replace it with much. Like how you were saying, we're getting
Yeah.
reruns of Fresh Prince. We was getting Baby Boy every day. We was, you know, they try to fit some original programming there, like Hell Date or College Hill, or they picked up The Game from the CW, and I was running The Game on BET, you know, that sitcom. But ultimately, when they veered away from music, it kind of changed the scope of what BET was. So like they were just picking up the reruns of shows that existed in the 90s, and you know, it's playing the same movies over and over, and it started to lose, you know, credibility of what black television is.
Yeah.
So it's funny because they're all Viacom, you know, CMT, MTV, BET, VH1, right? And I
Yeah.
think Nickelodeon in there or whatnot. But it's crazy how BET diminished so bad as far as the programming, but MTV just kind of kept it going. Like, uh, because they already was kind of ushering other programming in with, you know, it just being solely music, because they already had, you know, the Real World, and they had the Real World challenges, and they had all these other little shows or whatever that they did. And I feel like they were able to successfully maneuver away from the music and still have successful award shows that kind of went hand in hand with what pop culture was. And I feel like with BET growing away from music, the only thing that kept us watching BET was the awards and how much they put into it. When they stopped putting into the awards, it just kind of imploded, and like the production went down. Your hosts, the quality of hosts went down for your hip hop, for your BET awards. Some artists stopped coming, and that was a big one of the biggest hits. The performances, usually, one thing about the hip hop awards is not like hip hop awards started off being great and it was just so major. We watched the hip hop awards, and the BET awards was great. But the hip hop awards was like, yeah, it's flagship. It has potential. It could be great. But the reason why we watched the hip hop awards was the ciphers.
Exactly.
Then we in just a matter of those short years, we seen the quality of the cipher go downhill to where it started to become a joke, and then now it's no longer there. So what was your selling point for us on the BET hip hop awards? Once you take away the ciphers away, and then performances are shit, what do we have?
Exactly. And all right. So yeah, somebody in the chat said this, and I agree with this. MTV's in bad shape too. But MTV's award show, I remember watching this last month. I was really impressed with the time and the effort and the money that was put into these sets. I thought that the performances were pretty awesome, to be honest. Now, as far as them guiding the culture in the way that they used to in TRL and all that stuff existed, no, that's not happening. I was always of the mindset, though, where I felt like Viacom acquired BET to run it down and not to build it up. And that's how it feels, culturally, because like you said, they're not sitting here running, reruns of Friends on MTV. Fresh Prince, that's Will, that's different. But a lot of these things that they got on BET that are running 24/7 have zero to do with music or zero to do with culture per se. And I think that even if you're not sitting here playing music videos, 24/7 like you used to, there's still ways to be culturally important and still be able to cover what's going on in hip hop and be relevant in hip hop without having to play a music video. One of my favorite parts about, Rap City back in the days when Joe Clair and Big Les would go out into these artist environments. Like I remember Joe Clair came out and interviewed Goody Mob out Greenbrier Mall and all of these things. Like you could do those things without showing the music video, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the stuff that goes on YouTube and on different podcasts or whatever, of like even with Math Hoffa and the way that they are in the barbershop and having these conversations, who's to say that can't be a BET show? You know what I'm saying? Like there are different ways to do it without having to just say, yo, I can't play music videos, so I'm out the music game. Now, again, if you're going to do that, having an awards show, it seems really off base, because now what are we basing this on? At least when we used to watch BET when music was involved, you could quantify who should win an award. You know what I'm saying? Now, what are we really basing this on at this point? And like you say, artists showing up. You said it ain't a big deal, but I do think it's a big deal. They nominate Kendrick Lamar for 11 awards. He wins 8 of them, and he doesn't even show up to the show. Now, listen, I'm not giving any precursors of anything or whatever. I've never ran an award show, whatever, but it just seems disrespectful if you give somebody that much consideration and they give you none. I'm not giving you 8 awards if you ain't coming to the show. I'm sorry, you might get 1 or 2. I'm not you know what I'm saying? Like, am I wrong for that? Like, you got people who's sitting in the audience who actually took the time to come to the show who might not win anything.
Check this out though, Mike. We got to look at their status in hip hop as well, because it's easy to point out Kendrick and him not showing up because number one, how many awards he was nominated for, and two, because he's the highlight of hip hop right now. But it's been an ongoing thing for years that artists, big name artists, have been nominated are not showing up to the award shows. And just because it was Kendrick and he's nominated for this amount of awards this year, that doesn't deviate from the fact that this has been a long ongoing thing with other major artists for a long time. When we first started
awards, though, come on,
no,
Siobhan.
and the reason, let me finish, Mike. And the reason,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, the reason why I say that is because in the beginning of the hip hop awards, I mean of the BET awards, BET meant something to the culture because the BET artists still needed BET. You know what I'm saying? Like they still needed BET. They were a highlight in the culture. They were playing their videos. They were helping them sell those albums. What is BET doing for artists now? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the draw for a big name artist that's already established well beyond that to come back to the BET Awards? That's a low level production in the shell of what it used to be, as opposed to a young up and coming artist that need that screen times, that notoriety, and that stuff, those highlights to kind of up their career. Like,
well, and that's a fair point.
For Kendrick.
That's a fair point. But if you feel that way about my award show, I'm not going to have you winning 8 of them. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? And I agree with you. And I think that moment, on the flip side, that moment should really be reserved to the artists that, like you said, it can help. Like, because from what you're saying, sounds like Kendrick's just too big for the BET Awards, right?
Well, no, what I'm saying is it's been a consistent thing that bigger artists that has been nominated for the BET Awards haven't been showing. When is the last time the awards that Drake won? When's the last time you seen Drake at the BET at the BET Awards?
Well, I'm not just going to single out Kendrick. I think that anybody who feels that, like you said, BET is just not on their schedule to be able to show up for, then yeah, you're just not going to get nominated. I mean, you know what I mean? It's
we
what
went
it is.
From Beyonce and Jay-Z showing up to this award show to them not coming anymore. Let's not forget about the highlight of Monique getting up on that stage and dancing.
What is it? 2 different award shows. You got the BET Awards and the BET HipHop Awards.
But I'm just saying, they both suck now. That's what I'm saying. Like they both
had showing up to the BET Awards recently, though, right? Just not the BET HipHop Awards.
Yeah, but the Hip Hop Awards, what I'm saying is the quality of both is suck. Now, the Hip Hop Awards always started off shaky, and the thing that saved them was the ciphers, because that's back when they had Cat Williams as the host or whatnot. And that's another thing. I love Fat Joe. I just don't think he's a good host for the show. I'm just going to be honest. That's number one.
Fat Joe shouldn't be hosting the show year after year after year after year. Like, I mean, give Fat Joe 1 year to host it maybe, and let's move on to something else. I agree with you on that. I don't see why they got Fat Joe hosting. Like, he's basically the host now. Yeah, like, you're telling me in this big nation, Fat Joe's the only person that can host the BET Hip Hop Awards?
And so I'm looking at the BET, like I feel it's a prestige thing, and I feel like BET is not representing the culture. That's number one. The production has diminished. I mean, they had the BET Hip Hop Awards in Dre's nightclub in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Like, the stage, you seen the size of the stage and what these artists are making do. Like, come on, bro. Like,
they don't even need to have it. Yeah.
It's like the hip hop, and then you took away what made the hip hop awards that difference between the BET Awards, that the ciphers. You take that away, what are people really watching for? Because most of these artists are not showing up. Even your performances lack this year. How many current artists that we have? We're talking about Kendrick not showing up. How many current artists blessed that stage? We had. Think about the bulk of those performances. There were artists that already been established. 2 Chainz, Juicy J and E40. Like, come on, man. We got Big Boogie, we got Glow, and I think like one more current artist. We didn't have no current artists blessing that stage. What is that?
Who is that on, right? Thumbs up in the chat. We're gonna have some real talk today. Mad Max to the super chat says, enough of the BET talk. That's dead. Tell Nas to make another awards show, and I'll chip in. Grandmaster Awards, BET Awards is more ghetto than the projects I grew up in. Mad Max showing some heat to BET. I mean, is it one of those things where, all right, did they release any reason of why the ciphers were not televised? Because I was talking to some MCs who were working on the ciphers, and I was sitting there waiting for them to happen, and they didn't happen.
Yep. And so they, first of all, they start getting trashed. And then I feel like they started, certain artists wouldn't go on the ciphers no more. You start having a couple people that repeated. And then I think like they start losing themes. Once I remember one time they had a woman MC cipher, they had a Young Money cipher, they had they had the TDE cipher, they had the Eminem cipher, you know, with the Shady 2.0 joint. They had the throwback ciphers when they had Rev Run on there, and then they had the rappers with their sons, you know, and you know, they had that. And it was just like I think they left. First of all, they stopped the creativity of their themes. I think these artists stopped wanting to do it, and the ones that were doing it, it was trash. You know, I'm just gonna be honest. And then they start making a mockery out of it. You start having a Real Husbands of Hollywood cipher, the comedian cipher, and all that stuff. It's just like, you know, so it went downhill. You know, I just don't know. That was the highlight.
You know, you got people who, you know, this could possibly be their platform to, you know, gain new fans and become a star in their own right and get their career going. And you make a mockery of it by doing the Real Husbands of Hollywood cipher. Like, it's a bad idea. Man, Max in the super chat says they should let RZA run the show. He'd make it hip hop.
Hey, you want to know something else about this too? Is like, since the ciphers, when did we ever care about who showed up for an award at the BET HipHop Awards?
You're right.
We never talked about
I think, see, my thing is though, and I agree with you, Siobhan. I agree with that. But see, what BET, in my opinion, has messed up at, we got a BET HipHop Awards and a BET Awards. You got to differentiate this somehow. Should Kendrick maybe get nominated for 11 BET Awards? Sure. But for whatever reason, you know he's not going to show up to this BET Hip Hop Awards. So you need to reserve that show for the people that this hip hop shit is important to. If he's too mainstream for it, and I'm not, how do I say this? It's kind of like the Source Awards back in the day. We knew that the Source Awards was going to cater to the people that were in that room. There was nobody who was winning awards at that Source. I mean, even Death Row was out there in New York in that room at the Source Awards.
But we gotta say,
reserve that award show for the people that are in that room. If Kendrick's not going to be in that room, but he's going to be in the BET Awards room, give him all those nominations over there, because I'm sure there are a lot of hip hop artists who put together some dope work that would have loved to have been in that room if they got a nomination.
And you know, Mike, you got a point, but we're comparing apples to oranges when you make the point of the Source Awards, because the Source Awards meant something to the culture. You know, if you get a low rating on that mic system, your career could be over. What power does the BET Awards or the Hip Hop Awards hold for artists now?
You're
if
right.
Artists are running and they lose and they don't get it, or they're not acknowledged the BET Awards, that don't stop their career. Having a low rating on that mic system in the early Source Awards, that could break your career, bro.
Because a lot of those guys were, you know, they weren't already there. They had budding careers. And I think that that's the similarity, right? Where BET, they need to cater to the artist that is not on TV all the time or doesn't have that kind of reach like that. And, you know what I'm saying? And cater to them as opposed to the artist whose reach is bigger than the awards show. Hip hop is in a very interesting place. I never thought that we'd be in a place where you have artists who are bigger than the institutions. And I mean, obviously the BET Hip Hop Awards is a younger institution, but there was a time period where Kendrick needed the BET Hip Hop Awards as a platform. He needed it for that cipher that he did. When he did that TDE cipher, that was a big deal for him. He was there, he showed up, he spit his bars, now he's too big for it. You know what I mean? And so, and I'm not saying that in disrespect to him. I'm just saying that somehow these institutions can't keep up with how big the artists before them are getting. Yeah, and that's a problem. And they need to reset. If you're getting to a point where, nigga, all you doing is Super Bowl, you know what I'm saying, you turning down Coachella, you ain't coming to our award show, you're definitely not going to get 11 nominations here. You know, congratulations to you, but those nominations are going to be reserved for Glorilla or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that it still doesn't hurt Kendrick in that sense when the award show, the institution that hosts his award shows, has no pulse on the culture. It doesn't affect our culture at all. Like
I agree.
they don't even have a good representation of what the culture was. When I watched the last hip hop awards, for me being a black man, I cringed at watching the hip hop awards with how bad it tried to pander to what they think our black society is. I'm like, dog, you niggas are so clueless, bro. Like this is not how we talk. This is not like when I seen that little skit when it was like Taraji P. Henson and Kamala Harris talking and all. I was like, dog, we don't talk like that.
Exactly.
Young, I have a sister that's 21. That's not how they talk, bro. Like they don't even know what the culture is right now. So it seems like they're trying to pander and like, where's the young people in the rooms? You know,
they're not in the rooms. I mean, and people are saying that, you know, I'm playing politics and, you know, the BET Awards is whack. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about a respect thing. If I get nominated for any award that many times, especially a televised award, damn, I'm gonna at least send you in a video. I'm gonna at least acknowledge you or something, especially if this is a institution or a platform that I've utilized to get to where I'm at. You remember back in the day where if somebody big won an award and, you know what I'm saying, they couldn't be there, they would satellite in from tour or something like that. Like, damn, from an appreciation level, at least do that. It ain't like it's some Jimbo Jones award that started after you and is trying to, you know what I'm saying, give you an award for clout. You've actually used this platform before. So some level of appreciation, I mean, it's just the right thing. I don't see how people don't feel like, I don't see how people feel like just because the awards show has gone down clearly. And really, in my personal opinion, it doesn't even need to exist right now. But that still doesn't take away from the fact that this is a platform that when you needed it, you utilized it. When it could help you, you utilized it.
Because it meant something.
It meant something.
And it represented our current culture. They're not. BET is basically Tyler Perry land right now.
But
all throughout
you don't think they're trying to get that credibility back by nominating him that many times? Because he means something, right? So for them to get that credibility back and try to, you know, nominate somebody who did have a huge year, because it's the right thing to do on their end, they have to nominate him because he's having a big year. They got to acknowledge that. Yeah. So they're not that off base.
Well, the order to get the credibility back is you have to have it be black entertainment television again, you know, and that comes in all facets. But
now I would love for him to speak to that. Now, if that's where he stands on that, yeah, if you feel like, you know what, I'm not going to go out there and support the BET Hip Hop Awards since the BET is black owned, I think that's a powerful statement. But again,
I mean, he doesn't have to do that though, man. Mike, he doesn't owe nobody nothing by not showing up to the BET Awards, bro.
Man, you know, I think if somebody nominates you for 11 awards, you owe them something. It's a platform that you've used.
That I feel it only has the level of importance to who values it of that importance or whatever. Like it's not like he never did the BET Hip Hop Awards or the
he used it when it was beneficial for him though.
Everybody used them when it was beneficial because it meant something to the culture. They don't mean nothing to the culture no more.
Well, my argument right now is, you know what? You used them when you needed them. Now they need you. You gonna do anything for them?
Yeah, when you represent us. You know what I'm saying? Like, where's your importance?
He nominated him 11 times. How do they not represent him?
So many award shows outside of BET that there's only so many that has prestige. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have the NAACP awards. You know, why don't we have black actors that whine about not winning like these prestigious awards are associated with the bigger industry stuff, but they don't whine off like NAACP awards? Why is not the value in that? Or why is it that certain artists, they won't value and they don't whine off not winning the BET awards, but they may whine about not getting the Grammy? You know, there's prestige levels to this shit, Mike. Like a Grammy, that Grammy takes you up to another bracket of what your features is going to look like, even being nominated. That does something for your career. It doesn't do nothing for your career if you win a BET award, bro.
Again, man, it's like the value is in the artist. And if people didn't show up to the Grammys would start to lose its cachet as well. It's all about how you value it. Leonard Washington says, I wouldn't have that same energy for Drake. I would. If he got nominated 11 times and won 8, like that's crazy for anybody to win 8 awards at a show they don't even show up to. Mad Max in the super chat says, ain't the Source Awards do that to Nas when he ain't performed at the Source Awards? And Huey Freeman told us about BET on the Boondocks. You're right. The Source Awards did do that to Nas, and they were wrong. They were wrong.
And you know,
I mean, it is what it is. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, big artists will only come back home to BET after they get in trouble and get canceled by mainstream platforms. That's when you suddenly see Jonathan Majors at Hollywood Unlocked Awards. That is true. Yeah. That is true, unfortunately. But I know I shouldn't say anything, disagreeable with Kendrick here. Nobody's gonna.
But like, I'm just gonna keep it real, man. They have to establish the importance of it now, and have it similar with the culture. And honestly, there's so many factors that play into this as far as ownership, representation, where hip hop is at this time, the value of what hip hop at this time plays it into. I don't even think these younger rappers care about BET or care about the program of the BET.
Why should they?
The BET, exactly. So why would somebody who's been there, done that, and seen it crash and burn now feel like it still has that importance? Yeah, you could try to revive it, you could try to put life back into it, but that's only if it, what is it doing for us? You feel me? Like the Grammys, like it or not, it hasn't represented the culture well at all. And there's still a level of prestige in it that people are still up in arms when they don't win, because it does something to the next level in their career. It's something.
The Grammys are different, and not to interrupt you, because the Grammys are intertwined with the music industry itself. Like the Grammys is basically the major record labels and their staff, right? So like you said, winning those awards, it makes you more money. You're able to ask for more when you're touring. You're able to raise your price, if you will. Like Fat Joe would say, yesterday's price is not today's price. And that's what the Grammys is able to legitimately do for an artist. And you're right. You're playing politics. You're playing that game because you damn near have to. And you better believe that your label and your agents, they're going to make sure that your ass ain't touring when the Grammys is on. You know what I'm saying? You free. You know what I'm saying? Like your schedule is cleared up for this. And I think that's another thing too with the BET Awards, BET HipHop Awards. They have their awards show, or at least the BET Awards, they have it dead in the middle of summer. Like, niggas, it's touring. Like, what are you doing? The Grammys is like, you know what I'm saying, during that dead season where people aren't touring. But they're going to make sure the schedule's free anyway. You're right. But I think that when we talk about, well, let me say this first. I don't think there should even be a BET Hip Hop Awards. I'm just being, I mean, if people ain't gonna show up, and you got, somebody who should get nominations that got 11 nominations and they're not gonna show up, it's like, why do we have this? But I do think if we took away the BET Hip Hop Awards, then I think people would be crying foul for that too.
Yeah, I mean, but we also had Meg that got nominated for all those awards and didn't win anything.
Crazy.
So
should we go down the line real quick? I want to go through the winners real quick, and you tell me what you're thinking. Best hip hop video, Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us. Best collaboration, Metro Boomin, Future, Kendrick Lamar, Like That. Winner. All right. We got best duo or group, Future and Metro. Best live performer, Missy Elliott. Interesting.
Yeah.
Lyricist of the year, Kendrick Lamar. Video director of the year, Dave Free and Kendrick Lamar. Okay. Song of the year, Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us. Album of the year, Nicki Minaj, Pink Friday 2. Hip Hop Artist of the year, Kendrick Lamar. Best Breakthrough Hip Hop Artist, Sexy Red. Hustler of the Year, 50 Cent. Sweet 16 Best Featured Verse, Kendrick Lamar, Like That. Impact Track, Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us. Best International Flow, Gets. DJ of the Year, The Alchemist. Producer of the Year, The Alchemist. Hip Hop Platform, Club Shay Shay. Didn't realize that was a hip hop platform. And those were the BET Awards, BET Hip Hop Awards.
So first of all, those awards just it's always going to be based on who has the most popular year. We know what that's going to happen. But think about
that's crazy though. Megan got 12 nominations.
But some of them you can't argue against. Biggest impact, hell yeah, we're going to say Kendrick. You know, some of these we can't really argue with based on what the type of year we had in hip hop. Out of everybody who released albums mainstream this year, it was majority women.
Yeah,
that's number one. It was majority women. Meg dropped this year, Lotto dropped this year, Sexy Red dropped, JT dropped, and then we just had Glow that just dropped. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like we had more women drop albums this year than these males. So when you think about these categories, who wins these over Kendrick other than possibly a Drake? But let's talk about what was put out this year to make that, you know, who would you see winning these over Kendrick?
Well, you know, I mean, that's a good question. They took away, and I don't know if this is feminism at work or whatever, but they took away best female artist and best male artist, I see. And Megan definitely would have won that. I mean, she should have, you know, based on what they got here. And so they just had artist of the year. You know, I guess Megan couldn't have won any of that. Let me see what all Megan was nominated for, because she was nominated for 12.
She didn't win anything. I think that's more disrespectful than this Kendrick thing.
That is disrespectful.
You got me here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, all right. So best live performer, and they had 9 nominees, bro. They had Burna Boy, Drake, Megan Thee Stallion, Busta Rhymes, Glorilla, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, Kendrick Lamar, and Travis Scott. Well, I'm of the mindset that of all of these people, Travis Scott has to win that.
Yes,
but he got
it down. Yes,
Travis Scott's the best live performer of the past 10 years.
I just want to know, what is the standard for how they judge that? Are they going based off tour gross? Because if that's the case, Drake should have won that award. Are they going off your actual showmanship on stage? Then yeah, cool. I can see Travis Scott being in that conversation, if not winning that. But what is the criteria for that award?
I mean, I love Missy Elliott.
She's been on tour.
She should have won that one.
She's been on tour, so you know,
for the first time ever. It's her first tour ever. Like when you talk about live performances, man, like that's Travis. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, I don't, like you said, to your point, they India I read her, man, because I don't really see what song she should have won for.
It should make
no video, no.
It makes no sense. It's kind of damn near disrespectful a little bit, and I can defend Megan in a sense, because before Glow just dropped this album, she had the highest selling hip hop female record this year.
Yeah,
and she doesn't even want a BET award, hip hop award.
Yeah. Like, on the flip side, you're right, man. It's like, if you know that I'm gonna be in these categories like this, man, and I ain't gonna win nothing, don't even nominate me this many times. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of embarrassing and disrespectful. Like, but again, people are gonna say I'm playing politics, but it is politics, man. Like when you got somebody who was nominated 11 times and wins 8, and then you got somebody nominated 12 times and wins 0, it just seems weird.
Yeah, and then, like I said, you couldn't even get the young performers to show up to do your show like that, man.
This is why.
This you know, all right, the ones that are bigger above this in status wise as artists don't show up, but at least where's your young artists? I see they had Big Boogie, they brought Glow out. You had oh boy, I forgot. He had that Left Right song, whatever. I forgot what the name of Soak City. That was the name. I think I would like to say I think he performed, but other than that, it was your already older established artists. We didn't even get the young. Like hip hop is a young man sport, and we don't even see the young generation being represented at the BET Hip Hop Awards. I mean, that was more telling to me anything. Like Usually, if you were to look at this, you should be able to see where hip hop is at this time for us. I didn't see that. That wasn't a
Yeah.
representation of where hip hop is right now.
Yeah.
Even if hip hop is in a bad space right now, where are the artists that you would pick to represent like what's going on in the culture right now is hip hop? I didn't see that there.
The mainstream is in a bad space. And, I mean, BET, I think, and this is just my opinion, I think that they need to kind of, I know they can't go all the way this way, but they need to cater to the Shay Noirs of the world, the Benny the Butchers of the world, the Freddie Gibbs, at least mix that up. You know what I'm saying? Like, get the people who are out here that are hungry and making records and like making some of their best material right now in the mix with some of the people that are on radio. And that's where the ciphers were dope, right? Because they used that kind of energy with the ciphers because they couldn't fake the ciphers too much. You had to have the Sahad Princes of the world in the ciphers and stuff because they were just that good, and it was good television for them. But I think at this point, for them to move forward and have good television, or just going to have to axe the award show altogether, they're going to have to get hungry, talented artists involved and get them on a stage that they've never been on before. Because like you said, BT can't help some of these other people who had just surpassed all of that. And they've been on these stages. They're bigger than that now, whether they want to, recognize that or not. And honestly, man, yeah, you
But
can't.
that calls for a bigger conversation about hip hop, Mike. Because
Yeah.
let me just veer away from BET, right?
Okay.
When we're talking about this underground rap and we're talking about mainstream, the mainstream is always who the people deem as popular, who the
Right.
people are saying, what the young folks are saying is just there. There's a reason why these certain rappers have always been placed in that little box that they're in versus mainstream. When we look at a Benny the Butcher, yeah, we know he could out rap a lot of rappers, but is he a star?
Mm.
Can we box him up and put him out? Let's think about it. Is Benny the Butcher up there in age too? Like, that's another thing. He's not a young budding star, bro. And that's not taken away from his ability of spitting. But they're like, when we talk about this underground, they're underground for a reason. It's not mainly just due to the product. You know what I'm saying? This is not due to the if the music sounds good or not. It has everything to do with what's gonna fly to the masses. Are they a star? Do these people has the face for marketing? When I look at Meg Thee Stallion, right? There's a million other female rappers, right? But Meg, she's on Pepsi commercials. I just seen a commercial with her on Venom. I've seen her in She-Hulk. I've seen her just hold down commercials and be placed in certain things. There's a certain star power that comes with certain people. Some people just got it. And the quality of music may not match how much of a star it is, but there's like, when I look back at the 90s, I remember watching shows like Moesha or the Parkers and stuff like that. And these black sitcoms or whatever, and you see who's the hottest artist on there. I remember the Wayans brothers had Busta Rhymes on there, or like these shows always had who was hot at the time on there. Like, those were stars in the light of that. What is our stars of today? What do you see of today? And those underground rappers are not necessarily those stars. So I think
I think a lot of that has to do with representation too. And you're right, there is a level of star power when certain people get on the screen, they just light things up. But I think that where BET is right now, they're not going to be able to get the biggest stars. So what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to deal with the stars that they're able to get. And they're going to have to, for a foundation and for some substance, I think they're going to have to deal with some of the talents and some of the hungry ones who have a dedicated fan base as well. Because, let's just say Benny the Butcher, right? Since we're talking about him, you put him on that stage, his fan base is going to be ecstatic with that, and they're going to watch. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if that is a small fan base in regard to maybe some of the larger ones, it'll still look like a step forward, you know what I'm saying, for a stage like that. And you get about 5 or 6 of those in conjunction with the mainstream artists that will come in there. I think that's how you kind of build that up. Because if we think about BET in the 90s, there was a whole lot of people that was getting airplay that weren't stars and weren't making big radio records.
It's more pure then, Mike.
I think we're at the
Lyricism kind of
stage.
still mattered at that point. That the culture wasn't that where that mattered. It doesn't matter about that no more. You know,
how do we make that matter again? How do we make that matter where a J. Rue the Damager can go out there and get some light? Because he wasn't marketable at all in the 90s and he still got play.
But this goes back to me saying hip hop is always a reflection of what the younger people are listening to. Are the younger people in masses listen to Benny the Butcher? No, they're listening to NBA Youngboy. They're listening to, you know, what I'm saying,
on that stage too.
Lil Durk. You know what I'm saying? That's when I hear these jits, that's what they listening to. They listen to Ace and, you know, whatever drill rappers, and that's what they listening to out here. So
could that not be a mixture of all those things? Could we not have Benny on that stage, NBA Youngboy on that stage, Durk on that stage, Glorilla and Megan and all those things? Because if we talk about the BET HipHop Awards, hip hop is all of those things. It's the guy who sold 100 records and the guy who sold 1,000,000 records. You know what I mean?
Well, there's always been a balance, and all of this matters. I feel like all of this has always mattered in hip hop, and it needs to be there because you have the roots and people that stay within those roots, within what the true fundamentals of hip hop are. And then you have the ones that are, you know, they're mainstream, they're pop, you know, they are bigger than the hip hop culture when now is the money. And some of that money has driven certain artists I was once looked at being in that box is now being, you know, beyond that, which is like a Kanye, which with Kanye will even go further on to say that he used the underground, he used those rappers. He wasn't really like that. But we know, like, we see what that transition was, right? So it's like I hate to use this analogy, but I'm saying this. We hear a bunch of people talking about like the WNBA, and the WNBA should be bigger, and we represent this. Well, we have a bunch of women here, right? And we look at the WNBA and it's doing bigger in numbers and everything, but it's like, why isn't the bulk of that demographic that it appeals to supporting that much? And that's what I would like to say about underground hip hop. If you want underground hip hop to be that, we need the masses of people that believe in that to really support that and push that to the forefront. If the numbers show, Mike, you know,
what does that look like though? I guess because this is where when you talk about the numbers, and you're right, the numbers do show a certain thing. Radio and all of the, you know, from the people that I've talked to and whatnot, radio really throws a lot of those numbers off because radio and the way that it's able to, I don't want to say manipulate, but dictate streaming numbers is massive because streaming numbers are based on that reach. So like if you and I do a station head right now, we get like 500 something people in the group, and we play a record on station head, then that's 500 streams for that record. Imagine what that's like for a radio record, right? And if these streams are being quantified by reach to a certain extent, and this radio station is playing this record 25 times a day, the person who's not on radio and is just basically relying off of the organic, real streams of their fan base is not going to be able to compete. And on top of that, you're getting the notoriety from that radio play where you're getting the ears of the people who still listen, and you're still getting those plays from those people too. So, I mean, I get what you're saying, but it's really hard to quantify, you know what I'm saying, like how many people really are supporting, I don't want to say underground hip hop, but like some of that core hip hop. People like MF Doom, who never went platinum, to my knowledge, or possibly even gold, was huge out here, legendary out here. And like your impact, that has to account for something too. And it's hard to quantify. And those are the building blocks that hip hop originally was built on. We don't know how many times platinum paid in full was in the streets. We don't know.
Yeah, and this is what I would like to say too, Mike. Like, if we had people in the masses out supporting, like, just say one of your underground artists to the masses, and the industry cats will see that, guess who they're pushing next? That wave. You know what I'm saying? It's like that support means something. We got a bunch of people who complain about what's not hot, and what is currently there, but what is the support as loud as the complaints? And that's what I always say. And this applies to every industry.
Yeah.
Think about podcasts and think about even what we do on here, right, Mike? We could easily get on here and we know what will draw people. We know what is the bulk of what draws people on the internet as far as rhetoric and narratives to paint. And we know we can go there, but we stay where we are and we keep it there. There's no reward to being purist in whatever art form it is. It's not.
I mean, but chances got to be taken or things get stale. But you're right. I mean, it's like if we put, and like you said, we're all to blame here. If we put certain names in the title, it's not going to get the ratings that if we put other names in here. What's good, Super Duper? Yeah, we put Jay-Z name in here and the chat's going to go crazy. Or, you know, as soon as we go live, the numbers are going to go crazy. But we put, you know what I'm saying, like MC Search or something. I just saw that in the chat. That's why I just said that name. MC Search or something. It's not going to do those numbers. You know what I'm saying? And I think everybody thinks about bottom line, and the underground or the I guess the core hip hop MC kind of suffers the bulk of all of this, because how do I come up? How do I get talked about? Who's going to reach out to me? Because everybody's kind of reaching for numbers.
Man, it's all about
vicious cycle.
It's always about like the support at the end of the day. Like it is a level of support. Like I take it from like, say like an up and coming rapper, and some of them will complain about support, but that shit goes a long way. If you have over 1,000 something friends, and if all of them just share something that you're doing, what does that grow to? It grows to whoever's following them or whatever, and they must say, okay, I'll take this person's word for it. Let me go check out what they're saying. It's like stuff grows like that. But we see in the entertainment industry solely, set sells, controversy sells, and that's been the method for a long time. So it gets no different when we're talking about music. It gets no different when we're talking about entertainment. Like, let's think about what the idea of what Black television is. Black television right now shows like baddies. You feel me? Like, if you ask these young teenagers what they're watching, that's what they're watching, bro. They're watching stuff like baddies. They're watching, that's where the culture is right now. You know, like
I got some ideas, and I think some things can fundamentally be changed and moved in a progressive way. But you know, we're definitely going to get to that. But yeah, it's a wide open lane for sure.
It's always a balance, man. And I feel like
it's all entertainment, though.
Even trash TV is needed. I used to stay up late and watch Howard Stern sometime, or I used to watch Jerry Springer's. That I'm entertained by that. I'm uncut. I think there's a need for everything: the trashy stuff, the good stuff, the comedy. There's a need for all of it. When that balance, that pendulum is swung, and it's like, it's kind of like, where are we at? You know, and I think we just have to get back to having a balance with everything.
I agree.